Are you listening?
Right on. So we're back for the final segment with my boy Willam Wallen here. We've talked about memory and brain mastery in the second segment. In the first segment, we opened up with his book, Misadventures in Hospitality. Right now, we want to ask him about something that I thought was pretty cool. And one of the things I know about the guy is that he is a Mason, Freemason, and not like he doesn't lay bricks or
cuts down.
cuts down. So when we say that, we say that he's part of this group of men or people. I'm not even sure of the details of Masonry, but I am sure that there's a lot of stuff out there because I know a few Masons, and they frequently experience irritation at the stuff that you see. People will come on and they will say these things that it doesn't take a 10-year-old to realize sound a bit stretchy.
So let's put a few things to rest off the back, right?
Yeah, okay. Misconceptions out there. Yeah.
One, do y'all sacrifice children?
It's not that cool. No,
not that cool. Okay.
Yeah, so and I definitely know for a fact, I've met a lot of guys, and what I've always been under the understanding of is this, it's just a fraternity that you don't have to go to a university for. Essentially, right. It's a group of men that support one another, and then there is some what's the word I'm looking for here? There is some like a show. There is some theatrics to it.
Yeah,
there are some pageantry, some things that you have to be able to, there's a level of commitment to it. And I think that a lot of the times people see that and they see symbols and they see things and they meet confusion and then fear manifests and then bullshit comes out of their mouths.
Right.
So one thing, because one of the main things I like to focus on with healthy masculinity is what can somebody do if they had interest in that? Like, how did you get into being a Mason, and how could somebody else, if they were potentially interested, or how does that work?
Well, me personally, I had some friends that were Masons, and I'd gone to different random events and stuff, and was hanging around a bunch of Masons. Didn't realize at the time, they're not going to ask you to join. That's the thing. You have to ask. No one's ever going to ask you. And I'm just wondering why it wasn't cool enough to be part of their club. But anyway. But then I find that out with life circumstances at first didn't really allow me to join, between everything in my personal life. It was just this is one more thing I'd have to commit to. But eventually joined, and got in and everything. And it's been great, yeah. I would say if you're interested in all, of course, go online. I would say avoid the bullshit. Just go to Grand Lodge websites, find your state's Grand Lodge website, go there, read up about it, find Masons in your community. There should be stuff on that website to contact people and everything. Just ask questions. Oftentimes there's tours of buildings and stuff. Again, people were saying, "Oh, it's so secret, we can't get in the building." Yes, you can. There are also community centers, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I would say it's the best kept non-secret secret because everything's already been divulged, but no one believes it because they all want to, believe this weird mystique that it's somehow evil. It's
some kind of conspiracious theory to everything. Everything has to be some type of
right. It has to,
We're
really not that cool, I promise.
So you were kind of disappointed when you walked in.
Right. I'm like, I guess
Baphomet covered in blood or anything. Yeah.
So do you have to have a particular, I guess, maybe level of education, or do they look at what is when you apply for something like this? What are they looking at? Because I'm sure they don't just take anybody.
Sure, but there's a little bit of a vetting process. Because they don't want you to get in and all of a sudden you're just a friggin' weirdo. You know what I mean?
Can't remember anything.
That too. That's an issue too. But so you fill out a petition. Stuff like you have. Most states, some states it's 21, most states it's 18. Some in different countries are different with that. But basically you could just say be an adult. So you have to be an adult. You don't have to have any sort of level of education or anything. Basically the big thing is be an adult. In the United States you can't be a convicted felon.
That's what I was going to ask. Are there any other exclusions you?
Oh yeah, you can't be an atheist. So that's which people kind of get weirded out about. It's not against people who are atheists. It's just this goes back to time immemorial, and it's kind of like this whole thing of basing your morality on something. So they say believe in a higher power, supreme being, whatever you want to call it, and whatever that is, that's up to you.
So kind of like the saying, like if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So you got to kind of have that higher power.
That's a good way to look
compass.
at it. Yeah. Somewhere, to base your moral compass on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of the recovery programs. A lot of people are like, oh, well, this is a spiritual program. Not necessarily, but it was founded by spiritual men, and spiritual people seem to all be under the understanding. Like myself, I feel that growth is, it's three parts. You need mental and physical growth as well as spiritual growth to uphold you in, the times where you're failing mentally and physically. And if you're going to start a fraternity or something with support in one another, you want all of you to be capable of the same level of growth.
Right.
So I can see the necessity for that. One other thing, I definitely have heard a lot about crazy levels and initiations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's all these I watched this lunatic in this video, and I say lunatic because he was real twitchy. The guy's character was he was definitely not in the best of mental health.
Yeah.
You can tell he was in poor shape. He kept having a little twitch to him, but he was talking about how the system is set up like a pyramid that goes up to the eye of Satan. Satan is the peak of the pyramid, and Freemasons are the entry level to this cult or order.
Yeah, it's really not that cool.
Yeah. I'm not saying that that's too cool, but that's funny.
Yeah. For starters, get it right out of the way, because this can go into other things too. Political and religious discussions are actually forbidden in lodge meetings.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah. So, because nothing divisive, and that's not why we're there.
Is there alcohol there? Is it like a bar?
Prior to say a Blue Lodge meeting, you can't drink. Afterwards, you can do whatever you want. Some independent bodies have a different story, but so as far as levels go, anything of these you could say additional degrees like the Scottish Rite or the York Rite and everything, they're not. It's not an upward movement; it's an outward movement, and they're also not required. It's all up to you, and it's all outward movement. And even the Scottish Rite, which gets most of the rap for that, because you get the higher degrees up to the 32nd and 33rd. And actually, funny enough, if you join the Scottish Rite, you become a 32nd degree in a weekend.
That's one of the things the crazy guy said. He's like, yeah, so there are ways they call it fast tracking, where you go up here and do it in a day. And sometimes it just takes years, and half your lifetime. And I was like,
it's at least in the United States, some countries do it a little bit differently, but so you get your 32nd degree, but obviously you want to, if you actually want to apply that, you have to go and study and do stuff and volunteer and everything. But the 33rd, this mysterious 33rd. So those are guys who've been in the Scottish for a long time, put a lot of money and effort and volunteering into it. As shortened version of this, so they can get elected for what's called the honorary 33rd degree, which you can't apply for. You actually get elected to get, and so it's the guys I know with it they kind of get rid of the mystique. They're just I've even heard it's kind of disappointing when you go get it. Like this is the capstone, really. It's not an educational degree. You show up, there's a little ceremony, here's your white hat, yay. It's pretty simple.
So, like most institutions, you almost pay to play in a sense.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like you show up and all of a sudden you're sacrificing a virgin to Satan or anything like that. I mean, we have, in my lodge, we actually, one of the 33rds who's actually in my lodge, he's a past master in my lodge, is a rabbi, so I doubt he's going to be cool with showing up.
But, with that being said, also, you can be a Satanist and you can be,
very technical end.
Yeah, you could be on the opposite. You could be either.
How comfortable you'd be with, at least in the United States, walking to a lodge and having an open Bible there. I mean, that's another question, but.
Right.
But again, that's not to say you have to be Jewish or Christian. No. It's based on what the majority of people's religious kind of ruling is in that area. That's what's the book that's going to be open. It's all symbolic and everything. Like you go to India, it's like Bhagavad Gita. Israel have the Torah open or whatever. Yeah, it's all symbolic.
What was the most surprising thing, or what was not surprising thing? What was the So I'm sure you went into being a Freemason with some type of expectations, right? Like you viewed it. I'm sure like most people view it from the outside
Sure,
at some point. So what was the biggest letdown that you were like walked and you're like,
well,
okay.
I think all the letdowns kind of happened prior to actually petitioning. So,
Right.
But no, I mean, ever since actually getting in and everything, no, it's just been great the whole time, and it opens up a lifetime of fun too. And no one's trying to take over the world. We should probably get that out of the way too.
That's the only reason why I'd want to join and like take over the fucking world, right?
We were like, you guys are just in New World Order. It's like, yeah, we'll get that right on that after we figure out the day for a barbecue,
right?
Which there actually has been argument about, But no, it was actually, it was actually at the Pro. Actually, I remember seeing actually one of my neighbors. He's a brother in my lodge. I went over to talk to him, and then I see Patrick, who works with our Memory and Brain Mastery in our Memory Academy. He was over there at the bar, and everything. I walked back over, and he's leaving, and then some other people we know were sitting there. It's like this lady we know and her friend, and they're asking something about he seemed upset about something. Well, that's a totally different topic in and of itself. I was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. And then they started asking me about like Freemasonry and everything, and I was answering it pretty honestly, and they're just like, well, why can't I get in the building? Like, well, do you want to go in the building? And I'm like, well, I'd like to see inside. I went, okay, well, I'll set that up. And they just
they're like, that's not what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. And they just kept getting, they just kept getting disillusioned with everything I was saying. Like, why is it so secret? I said, well, it's not really secret. It's confidential. Like, I mean, what I say behind that closed door is going to stay there. It's this setting where you can go in and you can say what is on your mind, what's bothering you, what's happening in your life, not have to worry about judgment or that they're going to leak this to people and smear your name anywhere. Or just like, well, why don't you guys let women in? Like, well, in the building we do. Like, well, not in the organization. I'm like, well, it's a fraternity. I mean, I can't go join the junior league.
But don't they have like a spin-off of that, right, for women too?
Well, actually, so in Europe, there's like some countries in Europe do have like women Freemasons. UGLE kind of charter all the lodges in the United States and England and everything. And anything under that jurisdiction, women are not allowed. It's nothing against women, but I mean, granted, there is a kind of a women's side to it, being the Daughters of the Nile.
Something like I heard.
And then there's also Eastern Star. People are like, that's just the women's group. No, actually, Daughters of the Nile is actually a co-fraternity.
They have like something like 10, I think.
Yeah, Daughters of the Nile is actually co-fraternity, very much women run, but it is a co-fraternity. They kept just hitting me with stuff, and I just kept, just shooting it down with just logic and reason. They're like, it's like, I just want to know what goes on in a meeting. I just don't know. I don't know if it's actually all that good. I'm like, you want to know what goes on? Because I'll just tell you. like, well, why don't you? I'm like, okay, we're gonna go in there. We're gonna open a meeting. We're gonna pay bills. Then we're gonna argue about the day for a barbecue. So, something you want to sit in on?
So that's a basic meeting, but then y'all have your, like you said, like the theatrics, the ceremonies, the things that y'all do when y'all put on y'all's.
Right. So there's degrees, like when you get initiated, like college fraternities have their initiations. Ours, there's no hazing. It's definitely theatrical, but there's no hazing.
And it's just a traditional type thing.
It's been passed on for centuries.
Right.
And it's actually really cool. There's no hazing. It's actually very edifying, and it's just.
So you aren't like locking people in coffins and making them dissolve all their steep dark secrets.
Cool, there's a lot of pageantry to it, and it's a big, huge hullabaloo, but it's great, and it's very definitely. It's supposed to speak to you, mind, body, and spirit. It's supposed to be kind of holistic in that sense.
So. One thing I've heard is that, it's a fraternity of men that kind of help each other, support each other in business and just other endeavors and stuff like that. And it's meant to edify you. You're supposed to, if someone does come in, they get like sponsorship or something similar.
Yeah, so you when you fill out a petition, you have to have your first and second line signers. That's going to be pretty universal, although the state of Texas also required to have three Masons as references as well. And basically, there's guys saying, "Yeah, this person's cool." And then the petition gets voted on. Well, first they actually assign an investigative committee. They go out and talk to you, make sure you're joining for the right reason. Like, well, if it's not like, oh, I just want to get rich. It's like, well, that's not really why it's there. It's supposed to be about it's more about about you. Like I sum it up as I can sum up Masonry as I so solemnly promise and swear that I will make the world a better place, beginning with myself. Or guys are just, I want to learn all the secrets and take over the world. Well, that's a no. But I mean, so anyway, usually 9 times out of 10, if not more, it comes back favorable. So then your petition gets voted on, and then if that's found favorable, then you get notified. Hey, you're found favorable. Let's get you in for initiation. And if it's not, then you still get notified.
Cool. Like I said, it seemed like something to support one another, and that's I can kind of get all the pageantry and theatrics supporting cultivating a trust between you and the other people there. And I've learned in my experience that if I work to build your trust, I can inadvertently lose your trust in the process.
Right.
We're all around each other and we see each other in community. If say we were in a close knit situation like anybody else, why do these guys do all these things and have all these secrets for one another? It's cultivating a trust and cultivating a brotherhood, but it leads to the mystery, which leads to the confusion and the fear and the misconception. And I've always kind of thought that from what I've experienced in talking to a lot of other guys, because you even, like, when I watched that video on the thread, like, there was like 3 dudes that were like, I'm a Mason, ask me anything, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
and you see that on all of them, and there's always just that people can take advantage of that term or that group and that name and just, okay, this is why I'm privy to information. And so many people, they're just clouded. Their vision's clouded through fear and not knowing, simple ignorance. They'll be like, oh, well, he's a Mason, so he knows something. I only learned about that watching a movie. And,
right.
I think a lot of it too is trying to get those got you moments and views right on YouTube and whatever. So it's easier to cook up a conspiracy that's going to get you a bunch of clicks and stuff like that, rather than have an honest conversation and have somebody, be honest and be like, okay, well, this is really how it is. Because odds are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to click on that thumbnail that has some kind of satanic guy that says Illuminati Freemasons before they click on.
Stop feeding on fear and nonsense. Start trying to learn the truth.
Right.
The truth will set you free.
Yeah, I definitely, I can see that. If you weren't even a Mason, you were just some guy who said he was a Mason and started talking about the satanic order of it all, we would probably have 1 million listens and views.
Oh, yeah.
Just put some horns on you and put you in a black cape,
Right now, we're just trying to get at least a dozen listeners, followers, viewers. So please show your support. We're definitely going to bring a lot more cool stuff like that. So you were telling us earlier when we were kind of shooting the shit, like Dave was mentioning, you collected a bunch of Mason stuff at one point, bro?
Yeah, I had a thing where I was collecting antique stuff, buying a lot of used stuff for whatever reason. But then I went to an estate sale, and this old African American guy had passed away. And I was going through his stuff, and I came across boxes and boxes and boxes of Freemason stuff. And I mean, it was cool. I had every single one. What do you call them? The things you tie around?
I'd have a cable toe, maybe.
Yeah, they have the little whatever. You have a white one, a blue.
Oh,
one.
the apron.
The aprons. Okay. They had all the different aprons, and I had a little set of all the different emblems and stuff like that. And I had stacks of paperwork that explained all different type of things. I don't know how much of them are legit. And then he had like applications where he had, I guess, applied to be a chapter or whatever. I know before you were telling me a little bit about explaining the history of African American Freemasons and in Texas and the significance of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know why my mind went to cable toe over apron. So yeah, scratch that. Apron, apron makes tons more sense. So African American Freemasonry. I'm not the best in the world at explaining the history of this, but it's pretty cool. So way back in the day, before any of us were even, in our father's balls, so back when, obviously, there was still slavery, so, racism was still pretty deeply rooted, not that it's gone away, obviously. So there's a man, named Prince Hall who, was an African-American, he was a free African-American. He traveled around and he was in the military and everything, and he was trying to become a Mason, and he was getting what's called blackballed by everywhere he went. And eventually he applied to UGLE directly, United Grand Lodge of England, and they accepted him. They took him and a bunch of guys in the military brought them over, and they made them Masons, and they gave him they gave a charter for these lodges now called Prince Hall lodges, and so of course there's some separation for a while. Nowadays, outside of a few states, there's complete mutual recognition. And everybody can join each other's kind of stuff now, even though they're technically separate Grand Lodges. It's all recognized outside of a few states like Georgia, Alabama, Florida, like maybe Tennessee too.
But Texas was the first state.
Texas was the first deep South state to actually open up full mutual recognition to Prince Hall. Yeah.
And you were telling me a little bit about how in the back in the slave days, jazz musicians would actually become Freemasons.
It was actually the Depression.
Depression, okay.
Yeah, the Depression. Yeah, jazz musicians would actually become Freemasons. And various reasons, but one of which was because when they were traveling around doing music, they could have safe places to go, and they could, they could actually be recognized as a Mason. Whether this person likes it or not, they're not going to mess with them at the very least. So it's actually a way of traveling around the country safely.
And I think that's a positive thing about that kind of puts to rest some of the misconception about being Freemason and satanic and negative.
Yeah.
Because
That's
if you were a Freemason,
yeah,
then no matter what color you were, being a Freemason protected you over everything else that was going on.
Well, yeah, and even Albert Pike, who wrote Morals and Dogmas and organized how we have the Scottish Rite as of now. People talk about he was like a racist. Well, he was a product of his time, but at first he was not cool with black men being Masons, and then so he actually went and actually sat in on their work and everything, and he's like, they are just as legitimate as anyone else.
Right.
And
sometimes that's what it takes, especially it's like you have to step out of that to become more enlightened in a sense, and that's what Freemasonry is almost about, right? It's a quest for enlightenment.
And I think that's actually a testament of Freemasonry. You have a man who was very much a product of his time. He was Southern. He fought in the Civil War and everything. Obviously, he had some racial issues there, but I think the testament of what Freemasonry can do for you to actually apply is he went from saying no, they shouldn't be Masons to they're legit. They're legit. This is cool. Yeah.
So
like in an evening,
that's pretty cool. So
yeah.
There's the whole idea of Satanism and racism and the isms being part of Masonry is out the window.
Right.
But there is definitely brotherhood, edification, and seeking enlightenment.
Yeah,
Definitely moving towards something that's for bettering, self-betterment. Better yourself, you better the world. Can't remember who said that, but they did. Someone other than me, and I just repeated it. Yeah, man. So that is pretty good stuff, and that anybody could do it. As long as they're not a convicted felon in the U.S. or complete
dumbass.
Yeah.
Dumbasses need not apply.
Yeah, freaks and weirdos. Like I say that lightly, it's like they let me in. But if you're just, if you're just a decent human being and you're just wanting to, join this, and you get to know people, and you submit your petition. Yeah, you're gonna have. You're gonna have a great time. Whatever you put into it, you're gonna get out of it. Like I said, there's definitely a lot of personal development side to it. It does tie in with the stuff we do with all the memory work, because you have to memorize a whole lot of stuff. When you get in, you have to memorize all this stuff. And it's actually a lot of fun to do if you have a good teacher, at least. But it's a lot of fun. It's also really cool during the initiations, because those are all done from memory too. You never see an open script ever.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's all done from memory, and has been so for 300 plus years.
So there is no misconception. There is no Freemason special book that.
So there are books like, just get this out there. I don't care, because you can just go out and buy these. Even you won't be able to read it. There are actually cipher books with all your work in it and everything. You won't be able to read it if you don't know what it's supposed to say.
Right.
But in Lodge, those aren't there. It's all,
It's all from memory.
All from memory.
Another question I had too that I remember through my rabbit hole of Freemason stuff like that, that allegedly Freemasons through the I guess the rise or whatever, as y'all go through degrees, when you become a 32nd or 32nd, 33, which one's the highest? Is it 30?
Well, 33rd would be like your honor rate. That's like the
highest.
Of like Scottish Rite.
So allegedly, from what I heard, is that when you become a 33-degree Mason, you learn the true original name of God, God's real name, and supposedly in myth that knowing God's real name and speaking it gives you all the almighty enlightenment and power.
Well, that's
Right.
cool.
No, not true.
I'm not a third party, but I mean, from what I said, like people I know with it are just like it's.
Yeah.
There's
So call bullshit.
Yeah, I've always thought it's funny.
So if you don't know God's real name, and if you did, you wouldn't tell us anyway.
in real basic translations and teachings of the Yoga Sutras, a lot of people are of the belief that Om is every part of that syllable. That syllable is in like a phonetic alignment with everything you can say, and you're simply just making noise through the vocal cords from an open to closed mouth, and that captures all sound, and that is the true name of God.
And that's cool. Yeah.
So whatever gives you that feeling of
Yeah,
connection,
so
right?
when I hear people say these things, I'm like, you people have a lot of faith in nonsense and not as much faith in like actual spiritual growth and practice. You know what I mean? Like, you think that that's what it takes, and you don't think that these guys memorizing all these things, spending time with one another, and getting to develop a brotherhood and stuff like that, you don't think that means anything. You just think that they do it to learn the name of God and weird stuff.
Yeah, even then, it's just like, well, depending on your religious preference, and the name of God is going to be different.
Different, right? Yeah. Because you accept all different.
And and it's a secular fraternity.
Right.
So
Yes.
Yeah, so then there's that. I mean, and even then, people don't realize things like the Scottish Rite, the York Rite, the shrine, the grotto. All these things are appendant bodies. So these are, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. You can do whatever it is you want to do. They're just separate bodies you can go do fun stuff in lack of a better terms. You go join, you go through the initiation or initiations, depending, and there's different things involved, but it's not. I mean, the closest one to being anything religious would maybe be like in York Rite when there's 3 different bodies in the York Rite, and then there's like the Templars and everything, and you either have to be a Christian or be willing to swear to defend the Christian faith, going back to the old Templars kind of thing.
So another question too is the Freemason. So Freemason and Knights Templar are interconnected somehow.
Oh yeah. So
does that go the same with the Illuminati?
Okay, so we're going down a rabbit hole.
I had to ask.
So way back in the day before we call speculative Freemasonry. Okay, so there were the stonemasons, and then there were the Templars and everything. So when the Templars were declared heretics by the Catholic Church, so of course a lot of them were killed, but a lot of them did survive and fled and everything. Some. And they hid among some actually went and became pirates. That's where we have the Jolly Roger on pirate ships and everything. But many of which hid among these stonemasons, were called Freemasons. They're the ones who could travel without paying tolls, and they hid among them. They started showing each other their work and everything. They're giving each other their initiations and their work and whatnot. And they started getting interconnected, and some, of course, went up to Scotland, and they, hit among Robert the Bruce, and, what's covered, basically like, hey, we'll cancel your debt with us if you let us hide here. And then they changed their name to the Knights of St. Andrew. Some went various places in Europe. So it all kind of got interconnected with, like, stonemasonry and everything. And then, and as far as we know, up in Scotland, there's still some things are still missing from history, because, various things go involved with your documents getting destroyed or it's not written. But somehow, somewhere up in Scotland, like 1600s about it started changing over to the speculative side, the more fraternal side and everything. And then in the early 1700s was when, Freemasonry, as we know, was kind of birthed.
Okay. One question for me, and this is probably the last question I got. Had you ever, since being a Mason, cut stone?
No.
Or worked with stone?
No, I wouldn't know the first thing about it.
I was just wondering, man.
I would not know the first thing about
it. The symbol is the tools, and you see.
And it talks about that, and you can read about that and how this was used for this and stuff. But actually going and getting a chunk of stone and sort of carving it, no, I've never done that.
Cool. Then you haven't hid any special artifacts in any corners of any buildings or anything
actually,
like that?
That is a thing.
I know it's a thing. I was wondering if you would have done it.
No, I would love to, but that's a thing. Like, looking, the northeast corner there. Most of these old buildings you find like the.
And you can even find quite a bit here in Galveston.
Oh yeah, you totally can. Yeah.
And you can tell there'll be a separate.
It's a long-standing tradition. The how they throw cool shit in there. it's nothing secret. It's just a long-standing tradition, you know.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
you know what? That's funny. That you say that corner in particular because that's where you. Oh, that's cool.
It has its meanings in Freemasonry and everything.
I mean, that's not as cool to me as this theory that this guy on Facebook has about Toyota Camrys or Corollas all have boxes of tissue above on the rear dashboard, behind the rear headrest. Look on Toyota Camrys. There's always a box of tissue. It's a theory. I kind of checked it out. It's real. It's real. The Camry tissue is a thing. So
Do the Masons do it?
yeah. Oh, and that's funny.
The Masons do it.
And that's what made me think that. In this guy's video, he's like, "Here's a Masonic lodge, so it must be one of their things or something like that."
I mean, sure.
Well, cool, man. So we've gotten into your book, we've gotten into your project with Memory and Brain Mastery, and we've gotten into a little bit about you and Masonry. And we appreciate you talking to us, man, and sharing this stuff with people. We're definitely going to put that stuff out there so you guys can get a hold of the book. You guys can find the groups on Facebook and Instagram and all over social media. And he's told you what he can tell you about the Masonry, so you can go ahead and believe what you want from that point on.
Yeah, what you do with that is up to you.
But remember, the more delusional these things the more delusive thinking you feed into, the less healthy you, quite frankly, are. So
You dilute your reality, buddy, all you want.
stay healthy, people, and stay tuned because we're going to have some more cool stuff out very soon. Peace.
Yay. Cool.
That was cool.